Hey everybody, what's happening? Sonofasilverstacker here. In today's numismatic news and information for the 23rd day of September 2022, I'd like to welcome you over to Good Morning to You with Tiny Numismatics number 240. And then we're going to go check out those live spot prices. However, check this out. We are closing in on 6,000 subs. Tell a friend. We'd like to get there sooner than later. Hopefully, it'll be 6K by Halloween Day. And also, if you're already subbed, consider membership. It's a great way to support the channel. Really is. Now, let's head over here to APMEX. Let me go ahead and hit reload. Looks like gold is down $15 now to 1668.20. Silver down 27 cents to 1961. Everything's pretty much down. Yeah, look at that. Brutal. Platinum down 26.70 to 895.30, and palladium down 71.30 to 2135.50. Now let's go over here to the United States Mint Coin Classroom, and these are U.S. Mint locations. And I wanted to show you there are 3 on the East Coast. You've got the one in D.C., you've got Philadelphia, and then you've got West Point, New York. Then you've got the one here in San Francisco and Denver, Colorado. Now, if you think about it, which ones would they shutter? They probably shutter one of these 3. And I imagine to keep circulating coins around, they'd have to, instead of moving tons and tons of coins from Denver to the West Coast, they could open up an operation in San Francisco. But that's if we don't go digital, right? So it would be all moot point if we went all digital. Isn't that interesting? Now, over here, this is the Gazette. It's, I don't know why it's not. I'm just trying to scroll up here. Anyway, it's a Gazette. It's out of Denver, Colorado. And this article is written by Seth Buster at the Gazette. It's published September 20, 2022. And it says here, where the government makes sense. Welcome to the Denver Mint. This is a really cool article. Look at all those Lincoln cents in those bins down there. And look at this. Bam! Those are Kennedy half dollars. And they are shiny and beautiful. Could you imagine working there? The honor, the prestige, the goodness. And I could get lost in this picture for a while. Just looking at that and gazing. Now, let's go here. Denver, somewhere between your couch cushions and the cup holders of your car, in a piggy bank or a wishing well, or on the sidewalk of any street, there's a penny or a nickel or a dime or quarter with the inconspicuous D mint mark besides the head of the president. That's for D, Denver, specifically the Denver Mint. Yes, it is, I guess. And somewhere inside the white ornate block of a building in the heart of Mile High City, there's a charming retired teacher turned tour guide cracking his usual line. Now, Joe Blackman says to his 14 guests, we're going to show you where the government makes sense. But he's got that one pretty much locked in for years and years. It says here, this is a great article, by the way. It says, welcome to one of the land's 6 U.S. Mint facilities for more than a century manufacturing the change that makes the national economy go round. Others have specific Congress-approved duties in Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Fort Knox, Kentucky, and West Point, New York, but only 2 make circulating coins. Philadelphia provides for populations east of the Mississippi River, while Denver delivers for those west. Okay, so that's the delineation right there between the Mississippi River and west of there. Now, the 2 mints are itinerary stops for tourists. They come with an obvious curiosity, one that might have been sparked amid the coin shortage of the pandemic, and one that might be somehow poignant in this age of digital commerce, when the coin seems all too faded for those dark spaces of couches and crummy curves. Yeah, they know what's coming, right? I mean, at least they hint to it. People want to see how their money is made, Blackman says. It's exciting for them, and he works at the Mint. The technology has changed, at least that's how I took it. The technology has changed since the first silver and gold coins were struck here in 1906 along Colfax Avenue, but the process is much the same. On tours, people watch as man and machine work together. That's awesome. Massive metal sheets are fed into blanking presses that punch the shape of coins, kind of like a giant cookie cutters, Blackman says during the tour. The blank, he says, are bound for the furnace, heated to 1700 degrees, doesn't say Fahrenheit or Celsius. That softens the material for proper ridging around the edges and stamping heads and tails. We can do 750 coins per minute, Blackman says. We make 25 to 30 million of them every single day, and that's right. Make about $1 billion per month between the both mints. As it's been for 100 plus years here in Denver, coins exit a hole to the lower counting and bagging room. One of those bags might weigh more than 2,000 pounds, and that's more than a ton, en route to the Federal Reserve banks in the region. And could you imagine how much energy it costs to get those bags of 2,000 pounds, tons of coins around the country, especially if you're in Denver, you're going to the Mississippi, and you're going to the Pacific West Coast. That's just incredible. That's a lot of movement there. Now, the circulating money represents but one mission of the Denver Mint. The tightly guarded plant also serves as protector of national assets in the form of what? Look at that. 1,300 tons of gold. Bam! Look at that. That amounts to 182 full-grown elephants. Are they African or Asian? Not sure. Big ears or little ears. And 17.5% of the precious metal kept by the United States government. Some of it drawn during Colorado's first great gold rushes. Isn't that incredible? Now, and beyond the circulating ones, the Denver Mint produces commemorative uncirculated coins to serve as one of America's oldest pastimes. Coin collecting. Now, collectors look no further than the gift shop for some of the day's must-haves. That includes the latest of the coveted American Eagle series, depicting Lady Liberty and the iconic bird, going for about $2,600 here. That includes also the latest in celebrating baseball's Negro League, and that is 3 coins for $762. Now, whoops, I went too far down there. In showing the life cycle of oak imprinted on platinum, another new series recognizes freedoms we hold dearest: religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. And I think we're only into 3 of them so far, and the other 2 are coming out shortly. Now, and another recent craze are the quarters honoring pioneer women of America. In the first year of the 5-year series, the Denver Mint is stamping on the poet activist Maya Angelou, the first woman in space; Dr. Sally Ride, a Cherokee Nation leader, Wilma Mankiller, what did I say? First woman in space, Sally Ride? I'm sorry. A suffrage leader in New Mexico, that's Wilma Mankiller, and Nina Otero Warren, and Anna May Wong, an early Chinese star in Hollywood. There's a lot of people who really don't know much about these women, says Randy Johnson, Denver Mint supervisor. Women have been really underappreciated in America, so we're playing catch up. And I think that's pretty cool. Nothing wrong with playing catch up. Now, this, he says, speaks to the greater aim of the United States Mint. The coins of yesteryear and today are designed to represent American heritage and ideals through people, places, and events. Sounds like some script right there. Now, it says here, like history in your pocket, says public affairs specialist Tom Facing, I think. Now, I think I got that wrong, probably. Now, I'm sorry if I did. As the agency's director, Miss Venture C. Gibson puts it in the 2022 Collector's Guide. Since arriving at the United States Mint last fall, I've seen firsthand how sincerely my colleagues take their commitment to connecting America through coins. Definitely canned statement right there. Johnson arrived at the Denver Mint 25 years ago. He says more than 200 engineers, machinists, and inspectors work on the ground floor, and many are like him. Unless they're new, they've been here a long time, he says. So it looks like they are either super duper new or been there for a long time. Isn't that interesting? And I would say that that speaks a lot to Miss Venture C. Gibson hiring over there at the Mint. So kudos to you. Now, it's a matter of pride, Johnson says. I would think so. When you work for the Mint, he says, you feel like you're part of history of America. Absolutely. It's indeed a history about as old as the country. Alexander Hamilton was tasked with preparing a monetary system not long after the Constitution was ratified. The U.S. Mint was established under the 1792 Coin Act, paving the way for the facility in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, San Francisco came later in 1854. This was the decade that saw tens of thousands of fortune seekers flock to the rugged, untamed territory that would be Colorado. And I think that would be California too, though, wouldn't it? Because they're talking about California. I don't know. Now, gold dust and flakes from mountain streams would be an early form of currency. Miners would literally go into the bars of Denver with their bags of gold dust. Author and historian Kimberly Field says in a PBS documentary on the city's mint, and there's a link there too. You should check that out. Having fat fingers was a job requirement for a good bartender because he would dip his fingers into the miner's bag and take a little pinch of gold dust. Now, that would be weighed on countertop scales all around in this emerging town, still isolated from broader economic system. Some bankers from Kansas saw an opportunity here. They erected a brick building on the corner of 16th Street near a muddy, stinky stockyard. At Clark, Gruber and Company, gold powder could be easily assayed and made into coins. Now, Abraham Lincoln saw this, and his Secretary of the Treasury, Salmon P. Chase, at the time found out that this private bank in the Wild West town of Denver was making its own money. They weren't too pleased, however, Facing says in the documentary. So how do you stop a business? Well, you buy them. Now, it says here the federal government took over in 1862, and you know what happened in that year. Now, the assaying continued, but it would take 3 decades for the U.S. Mint to establish itself there. And it would take more years into the next century for headquarters matching ambitions to make Denver the Washington of the West. That's pretty cool. The marble and granite building on Colfax was modeled after a Palace in Florence, Italy. It was complete with Romanesque arches and paintings and the finest chandeliers, coppers, and brass. That's amazing. Spared no expense. It was, Field says, one of the things that made Denver a real city. It remains a head turner today. Inspiring questions. That's cool. Do they make buildings like that anymore that are head turners? I don't know. Maybe here and there they do. A question we get here all the time is, how do we pay the bills? Blackman says on the tour. A good question, especially considering the mint hubs are expected to be self-funded enterprises while selling the coins at face value. And we know it doesn't take face value to make the coins. It says here, the penny costs 2.5 cents to make, and we sell it for a penny. The nickel costs over 8 cents to make, and we sell it for a nickel. Blackman says, now the dime costs 4 cents to make, and they sell it for a dime, and the quarter costs about 9 cents, and they sell it for a quarter. Now, it doesn't tell us what the 50 cents piece is worth or what they make for it. And maybe that's why the United States Mint had produced 50-cent pieces, because they make a lot more on it than any of these other ones probably combined. Now, and then, of course, there's revenue from the collectibles. Last year, Denver Mint reportedly returned $120 million in net profit to the Treasury general fund, and it doesn't say whether it's a record or below the record or under or below the average, but I think it's probably a legit question. Now, another question we get here all the time: has the U.S. Mint ever been robbed, broken into, or held up? Blackman continues. The answer is no, but we do have some thefts by employees, and we just had one recently, right? I don't even think they got fired; they just got suspended. Now, most notorious was Orville Harrington, who's pictured at the Mint today. His devilish gaze trained upon the production floor over several months in 1920. He smuggled gold bars worth more than $8 million in today's value. He was sentenced to 10 years at Leavenworth Penitentiary, and if you stole that much today, do you think you'd only get 10 years in Leavenworth? Now, it says here, Harrington was a peg-leg man, cursed by the same blessing and curse of men across time and civilization. At the Denver Mint, tourists start in an exhibit displaying ancient money, turquoise and of the Egyptian pharaohs, jade of the Aztecs, a boar tusk used in New Guinea, and shells used in Asia, a bronze lepton issued by Pontius Pilate of Judea. Wow, that's incredible. It all recalls something the Denver Mint boss Johnson has wondered. I think about I don't know why I did that. I think about the coins that people find and collect from the Roman Empire. And I think about the coins that are made here in Denver. And I wonder what people will be looking at 1,000 years or 2,000 years from now. And I can't help but wonder if people will know about Denver, Colorado, if nothing else, because there's a D on that coin. Isn't that cool? Now let's go to the plus ones today. This is from parade.com. Now, why couldn't the couple get married at the library? Well, it was all booked up. Bam. Couldn't believe that. It was all booked up. No time for me. Now, this is from Tony Lynch, and this is peopledevelopmentmagazine.com, and this is called Times of Reflecting and Preparing Can Transform Your Life. Isn't that amazing? And I'll leave a link in the description to this, and, how to begin a time of reflection. It's got some bullet points here for you. What have you been learning the last 12 months? Has it gone well for me? Then what has not gone well, and how can I adapt to change? And then moving from reflection to preparation. What's the first step I can take today in my preparation for a better future? Am I really prepared to commit to this? These are some really cool, pragmatic questions. And, they're talking about developing a blueprint and staying on top of things. Now let's bounce over to here to 95.9 KOIN Coin News Radio. This is Rainbow Man on the Silver Mountain. That's amazing, isn't it? Now, folks, I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. Son of a Silver Stacker. Out.